Okay, we are going to try and get more expert views on the subject, because what we see playing out right now is that you have the judiciary on one side, at this moment at least, coming out in support of Imran Khan, ordering his immediate release, calling his arrest illegal. So, on the other side, of course, you have the elected government of Shehbaz Sharif and the Pakistan military, which seems to be at loggerheads with Imran Khan. Let me welcome Mr. Bharat Kannad, strategic affairs expert, joining us here. Thank you, sir. Very good evening to you, Mr. Kannad. I wanted you to respond to the current situation that we are seeing unfolding in neighboring Pakistan. The Supreme Court ordering immediate release of Imran Khan, and Imran Khan now time and again raising this issue of a threat to his life. You just heard a member of his party saying there's a conspiracy to eliminate him. Your take on the subject, sir?
Well, look, I think Imran Khan has emerged as a very important threat to the army. And the sort of campaign he has waged against certain officers in the army, like Faiz Hamid or the previous army chief, Qamar Bajwa, it is something that the army has never tolerated in the past. And, you have had Imran pretty much, in a sense, go up against the army very publicly, trying to, in a sense, pillory the army for all the developments in Pakistan for the last 6 odd months.
Yeah.
Ever since he was deposed, according to Imran, by the army, and Shehbaz Sharif installed in his place. The fact of the matter is the army has always had a hand in appointing, in elevating whoever the person the army thinks will be helpful to its cause. And so if they previously, in a sense, patronized Imran Khan, they now do Shehbaz Sharif. So Imran saying, targeting the army was a little, shall we say, rich. That said, I think the trouble for the army is that with the Supreme Court having released Imran Khan, it'll have a dilemma. The fact of the matter is, and we can be certain about one thing, he will not be allowed to contest the next elections, no matter what the Supreme Court comes up with, because there are some 140 odd charges that the Home Minister yesterday, Rana Sanaullah, talked about that are, there against Imran Khan, 140. So any of these charges can disqualify Imran from contesting the elections.
And elections are very much in the offing, Mr. Kannad. August, I think the National Assembly will be dissolved, and within a 60-day period, they have to elect a new government. So it's very much in the offing. So all of this is happening right ahead of the general elections. What happens to democracy in the neighboring nation? That is of importance to us as a country as well, isn't it? Because we have seen this cycle in Pakistan, the dual power center, the military and the political establishment. And it's also not unusual for a head of state to get arrested, even executed, as in the case of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto.
Or for that matter, Benazir Bhutto by Pervez Musharraf. I mean, that was the allegation, wasn't it? In terms of, the PPP, people saying there is the army that was out to get Benazir Bhutto, and she, in fact, was killed on army's orders. When, that Pervez Musharraf arranged it, or the army under him arranged it. So, you have always this sort of a problem that the Pakistan democracy has faced. The thing is that, all democracies in developing countries have their very unique characters. One cannot say one is better than the other. That's the way it is in individual countries. For instance, US agencies, human rights and so on, and the democracy index and so on, has pretty much downgraded India because they don't think we come up to the Western standards of democracy. So, there are all these relative, democratic sort of evaluations that may, depending on some countries' convenience, you may deem some country not democratic enough. And that's the real problem. But that apart, I think where Pakistan is concerned, you have to deal with the singular fact that the army is the main player. It decides what is in its interest, and that's the interest that is then, shall we say, conflated with the national interest.
Interesting you say
What
that
happened
because,
yesterday,
right.
after the attacks on the army commanders and so on,
Yes.
was a climacteric. It was something astonishing. It never happened before. And that's something the army cannot tolerate, because you suddenly have, Imran has set himself up as a rival to the army, a rival center, a rival pole.
And
to
that
the army
that
in
is
the
not
country.
tolerated.
And that is something that will not be tolerated.
Yes, quickly, Mr. Kannad, what is the realistic possibility of a military takeover under the circumstances? Do you see that as a possibility?
Look, if the fact is the PTI under Imran Khan is very highly mobilized and they are very motivated to prevent Shahbaz Sharif regime to return. In fact, it will be very impolitic for the Pakistan army to now support Shahbaz Sharif and facilitate his return. So if the Shahbaz Sharif regime doesn't get back, and the PPP doesn't really quite have the hold on the people of Pakistan, then you are left with the PTI. Then the compromise would be that, well, the army would countenance some other nominee of Imran Khan as prime minister, but not Imran himself. And that might be the compromise that could be worked out. Because, in an earlier times when the army was not so accountable and the people were not so roused, he may have been, as Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was hanged by Ziaul Haq. He could have been done away with on some trumped up charge or the other by the army. That's not now possible.
Yes, situation remains volatile. It's quite unpredictable as we are discussing all possibilities. Thank you so much, Mr. Bharat Kannad, for joining us here on the program and giving us your perspective.